the arrogance of an HOA never ceases to amaze me. But this time, they picked the wrong target. My wife's car, a perfectly parked sedan in our own driveway, suddenly became the focus of a towing order. What they didn't realize was that my wife wasn't just anyone. She was the district attorney for our county, and she didn't take kindly to people abusing their little scraps of authority. By the time this was over, the HOA wasn't just embarrassed, they were exposed. But before I continue with this wild story of HOA arrogance and karma, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We drop new HOA revenge stories every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next. It all started one Saturday morning. My wife, Emily, had parked her silver Honda Accord in our driveway. Not on the street. Not on the grass. In our own legally zoned, HOA-approved driveway. By afternoon, I noticed a strange car circling our cul-de-sac, snapping pictures. At first, I thought it was just someone lost or scouting houses. But later that evening, we found a bright yellow violation notice taped to Emily's car window. Unauthorized vehicle, subject to towing within 24 hours. I laughed out loud. They've lost their minds. How is your car unauthorized when it's parked at our house? Emily wasn't laughing. She calmly removed the notice, folded it, and slipped it into her purse. This isn't incompetence, she said evenly. This is targeted harassment. The next morning, sure enough, a tow truck rolled into our neighborhood. I stepped outside just in time to see the driver backing toward our driveway. "Whoa, whoa!" I shouted, jogging over. "What do you think you're doing?" The driver looked sheepish. "Sir, I've got orders from the HOA to remove this vehicle. Says it's not registered with the community." Emily walked out then, dressed casually in jeans and a t-shirt, but with that calm authority she carried everywhere. "You touch my car," she told the driver firmly, "and you'll be in violation of state property laws. This vehicle is legally registered, insured, and parked on private property." The tow truck driver hesitated. He clearly wasn't used to homeowners pushing back so strongly. But then, strutting across the street, came Marjorie, the self-appointed queen of our HOA board. "Don't listen to her," Marjorie barked. "That car's been parked here without proper HOA approval. Tow it." Emily arched an eyebrow, arms folded. "Approval to park in my own driveway? Is that what you're claiming?" Marjorie sneered. "Don't get smart with me. Rules are rules. If you don't like them, move out." That was the moment Emily's expression shifted, still calm, but now with an edge of ice. I knew that look. It was the same one she used in court when she was about to dismantle a defendant's story. She reached into her purse, pulled out her wallet, and flipped it open. "I'm Emily Carter, district attorney for this county. If you proceed with this unlawful tow, I'll ensure both the HOA and your towing company are charged with property theft and harassment." The tow truck driver's eyes widened. He backed up immediately, mumbling apologies. But Marjorie wasn't deterred. She scoffed. "Oh, please. You think flashing a badge scares me? You can't prosecute us for following our bylaws." Emily stepped closer, voice low but sharp. "Your bylaws don't override state law. You've attempted to unlawfully seize private property from a homeowner in good standing. That's called grand theft auto. And you just authorized it." For the first time, Marjorie faltered. Her bravado wavered, but she tried to recover. "We'll see about that in court," she snapped before storming off. The tow truck drove away, leaving us in peace, for the moment. But Emily wasn't about to let it drop. That evening, she gathered every violation notice we'd ever received, all nonsense like your grass is a quarter-inch too long or your recycling bin was visible for 12 minutes past collection time. She compiled them into a folder, neatly documented, and added today's attempted tow order on top. "This," she said, tapping the stack, "is a pattern of harassment. They've escalated to criminal behavior. Tomorrow, I'm filing formal charges." And true to her word, the very next day she walked into her office at the courthouse, not just as a resident fighting back against an HOA, but as the DA preparing to prosecute them. The HOA thought they could bully us with their petty threats and baseless citations. They didn't know they had just picked a fight with the one person in the county who had the power, the evidence, and the will to bring their entire operation down. And Emily was just getting started. The next morning, I expected the drama to die down. But the HOA wasn't finished. Karen had filed a formal complaint with the city, stating that our vehicle had been illegally parked for weeks. When the inspector came by, he looked at our driveway, looked at the car, and actually laughed. "This is your property," he said, shaking his head. "I don't know what game your HOA is playing, but I'll be filing a counter-report for harassment." That should have been the end of it. But Karen and her little counsel didn't like being embarrassed. 2 nights later, around 11:30 p.m., I caught the sound of chains rattling. Peering out the window, I saw it, a tow truck creeping into our driveway like a thief in the night. The driver had barely started hooking up the car before floodlights snapped on. My wife stepped out, a robe tied around her waist, a thick file in hand. "Stop right there," she commanded. "Do you have a warrant? Do you even have authorization from the city? Because unless you do, you're attempting to steal property from the district attorney's home." The driver froze, mid-motion. What?" "District Attorney Elizabeth Grant," my wife said coolly, flashing her badge. "And you're operating without lawful grounds. Congratulations, you've just attempted grand theft auto from the DA herself. Would you like me to call the police, or shall I press charges right now?" The driver's face went white. He dropped the chains instantly, muttering something about just following orders, before scrambling back into his truck and peeling away. But my wife wasn't done. The following morning, she marched down to the HOA office with a stack of legal documents. Karen was there, sipping coffee with a smug grin. "Back so soon?" Karen said sweetly. "You can't intimidate me. This neighborhood has rules, and we're going to enforce them." Elizabeth set the folder down on the table, her expression calm but her eyes blazing. "You've attempted to misuse city services. You've lied in official complaints. You've harassed my family. And now you've ordered an unlawful tow attempt on private property. I'm filing an injunction against this HOA effective immediately." The room went dead silent. Karen scoffed. "You can't do that." My wife leaned forward. "Karen, I'm the district attorney. I don't need to threaten you, I'll simply prosecute you. If you think you can talk your way out of fraud, harassment, and attempted theft, go right ahead. But I wouldn't recommend it." The color drained from Karen's face. Within a week, several HOA board members resigned out of fear. The city conducted a full audit, exposing shady bookkeeping, misused funds, and dozens of bogus violations issued to homeowners. Karen, of course, had signed off on most of them. She didn't last long after that. By the end of the month, she was removed as HOA president, fined heavily for misuse of authority, and faced potential criminal charges for the attempted illegal tow. As for us, my wife's car stayed parked right where it belonged, shining like a trophy in the driveway. The neighbors started treating us with new respect, many relieved that someone had finally stood up to the HOA bullies. That weekend, as we sat on the porch with coffee, I couldn't help but smile at Elizabeth. "You didn't just protect us," I said. "You might have saved this whole neighborhood." She smirked. "What can I say? I don't like bullies." From that day forward, nobody even looked twice at her car. And Karen? Every time she drove past, she kept her eyes down, as though the memory of that night, the night she realized who she was messing with, still haunted her.